Algebra Test 3 review. Write an equation between 2 points. First, we need to find the slope. The slope is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. y2 is 10 minus y1 is 4. x2 is 2. Subtract. x1 is -1. 10 minus 4. 2 minus -1 becomes 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 is our slope, which is m. Okay, now we're going to use our point -1 for x1, y1. M equals 2. We can write it in the point slope form first. Y minus 4 equals m is 2. X minus x1 is -1. That's y minus 4 equals 2. Minus a negative becomes plus. Now that is the point slope form. For the slope intercept form, we're going to distribute that 2 and then add 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. So that is the slope intercept form that it asked for. Number 2 says find the domain. The bottom can't be 0. So I need to find out when the bottom equals 0. Factor. Multiply to -15, add to 2 would be 5 minus 3. So x plus 5 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. Subtract 5. Add 3. Now that tells us what x cannot be, because we can't have 0 in that bottom. So x can't be -5 or 3. Okay, open circle because it can't equal those. It can be anything other than those two numbers. So left to right, -infinity to -5. In the middle, -5 to 3. And then 3 to infinity. The parentheses are because we're not including those two numbers. Okay, we're going to also find the domain for the next one, except it's a square root. Okay, square roots can't have a negative inside there. So 3x plus 12 has to be 0 or bigger. Solve for x. Okay, when you subtract, that symbol stays. divide by a positive, that symbol also stays. So x has to be greater than or equal to -4, or equal to include, greater than to the right. The include means use the bracket, so from -4 to infinity. Okay, to graph the equation of a line, we need to get y by itself. Okay, so there's a couple different things you can do. I'm going to subtract 4x. So I have -8y equals -4x plus 16. Divide by -8. So I have y equals 4 over 8 reduces to 1/2. Negative divided by a negative equals a positive. 16 divided by -8 is -2. So y equals 1/2 x minus 2. I'm going to make a table. Y is 1/2 x minus 2. Put in 0. 1/2 times 0 is 0, minus 2. Okay, now because of the 1/2, I'm going to plug in 2 here for x. And what does that make happen? That makes those 2's cancel out. So 1 minus 2 is -1. Okay, so what are the points? 0, -2, 2, -1. 0, -2 means over 0, down 2. 2, -1 means right 2, down 1. Number 5, graph a parabola. Okay, remember that f of x is the same thing as y, so that's y equals. Okay, I'm going to find the vertex. X equals -b over 2a. B is 12, so this is -12. A is the understood 1 in front of the x squared. So I get -12 over 2 is -6. Now I need to find y. Plug in x. -6 squared. 12 times -6. Okay, and that comes out to -4. So the vertex is -6, -4. My intercepts. Factor. What multiplies to 32 and adds to 12? Set them both equal to 0. Solve. Okay, now when we have the equation is y equals, but we've replaced y with 0. So that tells us when x is -4, y is 0. When x is negative 8, y is 0. So we also have these points to plot. Okay, so our points are our vertex and our intercepts. Okay, -6, -4, left and down. -4, 0, left 4, up 0. And -8, 0, left 8, up 0. Okay, it'll be multiple choice, so don't worry about drawing the parabola. Just make sure you have the right points. Number 6 is also a parabola. Okay, we want to graph, so we want to find our vertex. A is -1, B is -4. So negative B means the opposite. The opposite of -4 is 4 over 2A. 2 times -1 and 4 divided by that. Now I need to plug in. Negative x squared means -1 times x squared. Okay, a -2 times a -2 is a +4. +4 times -1. In the middle, negative times negative. Okay, 8 minus 4 is 4 plus 5 is 9. So the vertex is -2, 9. Okay, now we're going to set y, we're going to change y to 0 for our intercepts. I'm going to divide everything by -1 so that I have positive x squared. Negative divided by a negative, and positive divided by a negative. Okay, we want to multiply to -5, add to 4. So 5 minus 1. Set them both equal to 0. Solve. Now we replaced y with 0. So this tells us when y is 0. So when x is -5, y is 0, and also 1. So these are the points we're going to plot. Our vertex, our 2 intercepts. Okay, -2, 9, left 2, up 9. I'm not going to count. -5, 0, left 5, up 0. 1, 0, right 1, up 0. Okay, this is upside down. It's because we had negative x squared. Okay, solve. First, we want to factor. Multiply to negative 24, add to 5 would be 8 minus 3. So we're first finding out where it equals 0. Minus 8 and add 3. Okay, so this is when it equals 0. So that's at 3. Okay, that's where it changes from positive and negative. So we're going to do our table. Okay, it changes at negative 8 and 3, which means we need to know what it's doing less, in between, and more than 3. Okay, I'm going to use the factored form, x plus 8 times x minus 3. Okay, so I have negative 9 plus 8 times negative 9 minus 3, which would be a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, 0 plus 8 times 0 minus 3, I'm plugging in for x, would be a positive times a negative is a negative. Plug in 4 plus 8 times 4 minus 3, which would be a positive times a positive. Okay, now the question said less than or equal to 0. Things that are less than 0 are negative. Okay, so let's see, where does it come out negative? It comes out negative here in the middle of negative 8 and 3. Okay, that's where it comes out to be negative. The or equal to means include. So our answer is between negative 8 and 3. Brackets because of the or equal to. Okay, that's a 9, x minus 9. First, we need to find where the top equals 0 and where the bottom equals 0, because that's where it changes signs. So I'm going to minus 2 here and add 9 here. So that's where it equals 0. So that's where it changes its signs. So we need to know what it's doing elsewhere. So we're going to plug in x plus 2 and x minus 9. Okay, it changes signs at negative 2 and 9. So we need to know negative 3, which is less, 0 is in between, and 10 is more. Sorry, I don't know what I did. There we go. Okay, and 10 is more. So I'm going to plug in negative 3. Okay, I can see that the top and bottom would both be negative, so a negative divided by a negative is a positive. plug in 0, which would be a positive divided by a negative. When I plug in 10, I see that both the top and bottom would be a positive number. Now, I need to go back and look at the inequality symbol from the problem. Greater than 0 means positive, and don't include. Okay, so let's see where it comes out positive. It came out positive, things that are below, and then things that are above. Okay, so less than -2, more than 9. Okay, so less than -2 would be -infinity to -2. More than 9 is from 9 to infinity. Number 9, solve for x in a system of equations. Okay. Now, you can get rid of either x or y. Let's get rid of y because it said solve for x. Okay, so here's what we do. Look at the second equation. I have -8y. What cancels with -8y would be +8y. Okay, so how can I make 2y equal to 8y? And that's multiplying by 4. I multiply this by 4. 4 times 3x, 4 times 2y, and 4 times 48. Now I'm going to add those two equations together. 9x and 12x. 8y minus 8y cancels, which was the whole point of multiplying by 4. And 192 minus 24 is 168. Divide by 21. X equals to 8. It said solve for x, so we're done. Number 10 says solve for y. Okay, we've got one letter by itself. We've got this y by itself. So I'm going to use substitution, which means I'm going to replace this y right here with what y equals to. Okay, so x plus 3y equals 8. What can I replace y with? 2x minus 9. Okay, now I can distribute the 3. Combine like terms. Add 27. Getting x by itself. So 7x equals 35. So x equals 5. But that's not what the question wanted. It said solve for y. So we've got a little more work to do. Okay, we know y equals 2x minus 9, and now we know x equals 5. So all I have to do is plug in 5. 2 times 5, and 10 minus 9. Okay, solve for y equals 1. That's the end of the review.